All right, we're back with part three of our empty offense series, talking about the sweep complements today. This should be a real understanding of kind of progressing the offense after we talked about the base play last time. So what you want to understand is, and I had this slide up in the last session too, but I kept it so there's an understanding of where we are in this progression. There's essentially three parts to the offense. If we get in an empty set, we're lined up. Uh, we haven't snapped the ball yet. Essentially, we ought to be able to throw the ball short, horizontally to both sides, push the ball vertical to both sides, and then run some version of a sweep or play off a sweep to both sides. That's the best way to spread the whole field. And so what we talked about last time was being able to run the sweep, just the base play, because understand this, guys. If your base play sucks, then all these other plays are going to suck. I mean, that's not earth-shattering stuff there, but understand it. It's important to understand that you've got to make this base play work. Well, let's just assume, since we spent an hour and a half talking about it last time, that the base play is working. You're pretty decent at this play. If the team's not very good, you're going to get them. And now, team's having to cheat. So they've got to cheat to stop this play. Okay, they got to cheat to stop you on the sweep. Or whatever play you is. If you're just learning this as a piece to your offense, if you run inside zone or power or counter or whatever you do, make them stop that. And then a key fundamental to offense that I think some people get better than others is that medium amount of what's enough offense. Because you don't want to have nothing in, and you can't have too much stuff in. There's really a sweet spot in the middle. And so for us, it was always, what does this come off of? What's a punch and a counter punch? So for us, the sweep series was a punch. Now today we're going to talk about the counter punch. So I came up with this. I just drew it in PowerPoint, and it looks cool, I guess. But it's really significant because this is what we tried to call. So if we were running sweep to the right and the defensive end made the tackle, or the defensive end's a problem, I hate to say made the tackle because I always like to say who stopped the play, because sometimes the defensive end throwing the tackle back is what stopped the play, but he didn't make the tackle. So if you can figure out what stopped the play, and that was all we wanted to hear from the press box, honestly, we get to game planning later in this series, a few more sessions from now. But from the press box, what we wanted to really hear is who stopped the play, who made the tackle, or who disrupted the play, or whatever. Why did this not work? And it always ends up being for two reasons. Somebody got their ass kicked, or so-and-so did something really good on the other team. They're either cheating out there, they've got some kind of alignment issue, they're slanting this way, they're moving. They did something that was a real problem for us. Or they just whipped us. And I'm here to tell you guys, no offense, but if you're getting whipped, they're not in a good place for that. So we're not even talking about that. If the guy's whipping you, I mean, I guess you got to run something different or get a better player. Your job as a coach is to make as many plays not be that second thing as possible. So your job as an offensive play call is to have almost zero, maybe one play a game where you can say, they got us on that one. They did this, and we just kept doing it and let them get us. And I've done it. Look, I've done it. And that's probably the worst feeling you can have as an offensive coach, to be honest, is not give your kids that chance to win because you felt like, the defensive end was cheating all night and he stopped the sweep and you kept calling sweep. Well, if that's happening, you got to call power read. Why power read? Because we're going to read that guy. It's going to look just like sweep, but we're going to read him. If the inside backer's hurting you, we're going to read what we call power lock, which is basically power read, but we swap some roles, and we're going to read that linebacker. If the nose is whipping us, because in a lot of odd fronts, you're going to see it. If they got a really good nose, they're going to slant strong, or they're going to slant to the field, or they're going to slant somewhere. And when they do that, can you read this guy? Can we just not block him and read him and run the quarterback? If it's the backside guys, you got to throw pops, you got to run counter, you got to run boot, you got to do some stuff like that on the backside. We're going to talk mostly about the front side here, and then who stopped the play by running in the alley. That's going to be the last part of this, which I think you guys will like, is what we did when the secondary stopped the play, because that was a whole nother package, and really most of our really good plays came off of that. So whether you do this exact same thing that I did. If you don't have some version of this for your offense, I would advise you doing that. Have a base play and make sure if you have some other plays, they come off of that. They give you something. If this happens, this will be good. Don't just come up with something because you saw somebody, even like me, telling you how good it was. Make sure it comes off of something you do or it's your base play. So this is what we came up with based off of that. We got up there. If the defensive end stopped the play, we were going to call power read, which were these plays for us. If the safeties, or it could be a corner too. If secondary stopped the play, we're going to call these things. If the inside linebacker stopped the plays, if the defensive interior lineman, and on the backside. So that was really it, guys. Now, I did put some notes on here because I thought this would be helpful for somebody. If we're in an empty set, we're running the ball both sides, we're throwing it both sides or whatever. Something to keep in mind that's really real simple. When you say, well, coach, how do I know which side to call the play to? Because essentially you should be able to call jet, buck, power. You should be able to call any of these plays right and left within reason in the same formation, strong and weak, right and left, whatever. Say, how do I know which side I should call? It's not 100% accurate what I'm about to tell you, but it's probably in the 90% accurate. From a number standpoint, if they got two safeties, you run strong. If they got one, you run weak on these plays. It doesn't mean you run that play. It means you fake that way. So if they got one safety, they've rolled strong, go ahead and go weak. Most teams going to play us anyway with two safeties. And so if they roll down, they've rolled strong. You don't see many teams roll weak. So they're going to roll strong, run weak. They stay too high, they're balanced up, run strong. I probably insulted somebody's intelligence with that, but it's really that simple, guys. I thought we had a lot of. I mean, you can look up the numbers. We scored a lot of points in my time calling the plays, and what I'm telling you guys right now is really all we did. We just kind of ran a couple of base plays. We, we figured out who made the tackle. We called our next play off of that, and we looked at if they rolled or didn't roll or something to that effect. I mean, or who was the better player? Because there's another piece of this where you say, yeah, they rolled or they didn't roll, but the next thing would be like, is number 8 over there 1,000 times better than number 15? Well, then that might change it too. But all that factors in, and we'll get into all that stuff later. But I wanted you to see that. So if you're thinking to myself or yourself, well, should we go right or left with this fake or this play off the jet? Well, this is why. Now, traditionally, if you're not sure, you would call the strong side plays, but you can still run buck and jet. Power read, some of these plays weak aren't going to be as good unless you're pretty sure you got the edge out there. So keep that in mind. Buck sweep and jet sweep are much better plays into the boundary or into the weak side and stuff like that if you're kind of just not sure what you're getting. All right, so the first play we're going to talk about today is power read. Most people know this play, how to run it, but we've really had a lot of success with play in the last 7 or 8 years. And, everybody's got access to this on the website. You can go to empty.parkerresource.org if you're not already on there watching this playback. And you should have access to all these slides, all the different material, and actually more than I'm even going to show in this presentation. So I'm not going to sit here and read to you or let you just stare at this all day. You can access this yourself. What does the quarterback do on power read? They catch the ball, they slide, shuffle, reading the defensive end, give it unless. Give it unless. If he chases, pull it and run power. Real simple. Most people know about this play now, so it's not something that, it's earth-shattering. But you read the defensive end. If this defensive end's a problem because he's a problem on buck sweep or he's a problem on jet sweep, then you just got to read him. The old option saying hard to block, easy to read. And we're going to pick that guy out and read him. The backside guy running stretch, very important that they run full speed. So if you remember the last session, we talked about guys banging and bouncing. And, running jet sweep, you want to bang or bounce, you read it. But running buck sweep, you really want to bang every time. Well, running stretch, which all these plays are stretch type runs. You're running wide. Now on power read, all these plays we're going to talk about today, we want to run this thing to the sideline. So there's really, you are bouncing unless. You are bouncing unless. Just like on buck, you would bang unless. Here you're bouncing unless. You're just running wide, run wide, run wide. And you're only cutting in if you have to. Just like on buck, you're only bouncing if you have to. And in jet, you read them. So it's really 3 types of runs that all look the same to the defense. but 3 things we would teach our guys. The blocks are the same as the block we talked about on jet sweep. So you can listen to that again if you've forgotten that or look through. But the same block you did on jet sweep with the play side guy, he's got to be able to do it from a wing position, from the backfield, and from a receiver position. On the offensive line, we just blocking power. The only difference is we're not got an H-back in here or a sniffer trying to kick this guy out. We're just reading. Everybody else is blocking just like power, and that's going to be our read. Okay. Tried to get to the clips as fast as possible on this because we got a lot of video on this one tonight. All right, so here we froze them. Next, you got 3 running backs in. We got a unique set here. Running power to the left. Got the give. I think these first 5 or 6 are all gives, and then they're all pulls. I think I separated by that. So this will be the read. The first guy on or outside the tackle's the read. The next guy's got to get blocked by the wingback in this case, but we had an extra guy. We stacked up the Z and brought the Z in with the wingbacks and stacked them up. We got the down block, got the give. Let's try to get to some of these back copies. Well, this ain't great. So there's the read right there. You get down blocks here is the read. It's in motion, and he's hanging. If he hangs, you always give it. Now, I want to show the beginning of this play to kind of give you a better idea of what we're trying to do offensively in general. Okay, before he goes in motion, I know you kind of see him taking a step there, but before he goes in motion, we want them to worry about us throwing vertical with all these 5 guys, horizontal with all these 5 guys, and him going in motion and him going in motion, or even maybe him going in motion. But somebody's going in motion, or we're just catching it, throwing it down the field, you know. So this part of what we're talking about tonight is really just about we sent this guy in motion, and now there's some reason why we can't just block him and run it. And so we're reading this DN. He pinched, which we knew was a give. So, see, that's a better play than jet because on jet we had to block that. So now if I want to run jet the whole night, I'd just call power read until for some reason we didn't like it anymore. If this guy was going to pinch, then why would we try to reach? It's the same exact play as jet out here if we know we're going to get a give. So you can kind of see that again. There's a bunch of these. I probably should let them play. All right, same thing here. We got double eagle. So we're going to block down. This guy's up quick, but he stepped down. We gave it. That boy, I think, is at Alabama. He's really good. Same thing here. We're sending motion. There's the read. He kind of hangs. Watch that one again. Okay, so this guy right here is the read. He hangs. We give it. If he stretches out, then we obviously pull it. And you pull it, you get some good plays. We'll get to those in a second. There's the read. Always giving less because your quarterback's going to get hit a lot anyway, especially in empty. You got to be able to – your quarterback's got to be able to run a little, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But here's a bunch set. Double team here. Get out. We kind of missed that blocker to be even better, but we captured the edge. Got going. And here we got a bunch. If I got a question about this particular play, put it in the chat and ask it when we're done with this. Same thing there. We got a down. Now, these are going to be quarterback pulls. Not the best example because the guy stretched out, but you can see we kind of missed the block there, but it was the correct read. Blocked the read a little bit. There's the read. He's going out. We pull it. And see what happened there. That's a pretty typical pull look. There's the read up there. He steps out, so we pull it. And I put a few of these now just so you guys know, and I don't want to insult anybody, but like this boy was not a great runner. He was a good thrower. He's about 6'6". But you don't have to have a great runner to do that. The looks you're going to get in that empty set sometimes are so spread that you're going to get some good boxes for this same boy. I put a few of these in a row, and I'm like, not a great runner, but he can get that. We need him to do that, you know? And if you don't like your quarterback getting hit, then I guess you might have to run the eye or something. I don't know. But it's 2020, and most people are playing with their quarterback. We don't let them get hit in practice, but they're going to have to do a few of those again. You know, if they're going to give you that look and you can go to here we get a crack. Talk about blocking later. We get a little crack there. Back gets loose. See if we got the back copy there. Yeah, see, we got the read to step out, a crack. Let's see. Here we just running an extra shift. Brought the Z in the backfield too to get a jumbo look. Same thing. That's against Mariston playoffs. We didn't win the game, but you'd have a few nice plays. So you kind of get the idea. I'm not going to show the same things over and over. Everybody's got access to this video. You can watch it on your own all you want. Same thing there. It's a good look. All right. So what questions we got about power read? Anything?
Yeah. They want to know how much time do we
I
spend?
think you muted, Bo. I see your lips moving, but I don't hear you saying anything.
I shouldn't be muted. Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you. Hold on. Might be my computer.
I can hear you just fine.
Can y'all hear me? I guess y'all can hear me. Hold on.
Yeah, we got you.
All right, go ahead, Bo. Maybe I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think it was my computer.
Okay.
What was the question?
They just want to know how much time do we spend each week on quarterback reads with power?
Well, we spend a decent amount. I mean, maybe 10 minutes to answer the question, or one period each week. But over the course of, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, JV, and all spring football and whatever, it's just a base play. So we did it a lot. But the footwork on a lot of these plays are going to be the same. So the read is the footwork is the same. The person you look at is different. And so on several of these plays, we got, we're going to talk about 2 more after this one or 3 more. It's the same deal. So they're going to catch the ball, slide, read, and go. Every day we're doing handoff drills. So the quarterback don't have to work a ton of buck sweep and jet sweep handoffs. They're doing more of this when it's their time to focus on something, and then if the backs were getting the ball, and we're going to talk about practice stuff in another session, but if the backs were with the quarterbacks and the backs are working on banging or bouncing and all that stuff, then maybe the quarterback's there to hand it off, so they're getting a ton of reps at the timing, but it's not that big of a deal. That's an easy thing for them. There's business. If we're working power read now, we're focusing on that quarterback and maybe even throwing him a low snap every now and then and throwing him one that's up here and, stuff like that. So you kind of get used to that stuff. But my experience with this is kids can kind of do this. I mean, the play is open based on alignment, guys. Like if you want to get in, 11 personnel and run it, it might or might not work. I'm not going to lie to you. It might or might not work. But because remember on this snap, these guys have to defend all these verticals, all these horizontal throws, and the flank both sides. You just, if you can isolate somebody and make him be wrong, there's a very good chance you're going to get a little rip in there, even if it's a 4 or 6 yard rip. The biggest problem on this play is you've got a really good tailback and an average quarterback, or vice versa, and the team's trying to kind of dictate who you give the ball to. I mean, that's the negative. But like I said, like our quarterback one year wasn't a great runner, and we still ran this stuff, and he had to get 4 yards every play. And he really did a great job with it. Probably averaged 35, 37 points a game. So, I mean, we didn't expect the massive plays out of him. But when they gave us that 3-1 box after we went in motion, we had to better get some yards out of that. So I think it's just rep, coach. And I would have 2 huddles. We're going to talk about practice another time, but I'd have 2 huddles. We'd be like, bam, 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 And so a lot of the way we taught stuff was just by doing it. I didn't like standing around talking about it. We were just going to do better, get better by, I don't know, muscle memory or whatever, correct on the run, just do more of them. And that seemed to work pretty well for us. I mean, we really did have a pretty good run and not having bad exchanges or, mess up like that. All right. Now this one's with the Z. I don't know if I should show all these. It's the same stuff. But you run it with the Z. I may show 1 or 2 of these and go on because I'm not trying to bore everybody. So now we just brought an extra guy over, to get both the backs on the same side. And sometimes that just gives you an extra blocker. But it's power read. We're running it with the reading the defensive end. So like there's the read right there. He kind of hangs, so we gave it, same stuff. And everybody can watch that. That's literally the same play. Okay, this is a different play. Now, this is going to look just like power read, but we're going to block counter. So this is going to look just like power read. We're going to send him in motion if he's not in the backfield already, run the stretch with him. Same rules for everybody but the O-line. The O-line's going to block counter. So now if the quarterback pulls it, instead of running this power path, he's going to run counter. Saw this to be some games. Sometimes this defensive end, when he sees this guy pull, he does something totally different than what he does when he gets a, like just a regular down block, and he's kind of ready for power read. So this play was a good compliment for us. All right, so this was our counter read. Let's see. We'll play a few of these. I think it'll be the same as the other one where the first 5 or 6 will be gives, and then the last 5 or 6 will be pulls. So there we got to give. All right, so there's the read. We pulled, and he went down with it. See, and that's what you want. He just stepped down long enough where we could get the give no matter what. Same thing here. I believe this is the read. We're coming up here. He hangs. We got the give. So sometimes when we couldn't get the give on power, we could call this and get it. Or sometimes if we wanted to run the quarterback, could see how he hung. You can see that there. Let's rewind that. There's the read. He jumps in, so we gave. Coming up top, there's the read. He jumps in, so we got an easy give. There he is right there. Let's see if we were like, there would be no reason to call jet sweep in that look. No reason, because we don't even have to block that guy and you get the edge just like you were going to get it in. Same thing here. Get the hang, give. These are keeps. Now the quarterback kept this one here. Same thing here. We got to keep. They ran out. Same thing here, I believe, and this is our bigger quarterback, but he, he's able to get in there and get some yards. So 40 should be the read here. Probably should have gave that, but Might have been baiting him. Here's the read there. That guy's way out, so we pulled it. See, I put some of these 6-7 yard gains in here on purpose because I felt like the biggest criticism you could say of some of this empty stuff is like, well, we don't have a quarterback to run, or I mean, look, you can get 4 or 5 yards. That's what you got to get. You got to have some plays like that. I mean, if they're going to give you this box where he flies out and all that, then I mean, there's nobody in there. You got to be able to get some yards. And when we talk about what stopped the play, like this is a great example of who stopped the play here. The safety at about 8 yards. Nobody stopped the play. That's a good one. Call that one again. Here we got a shift. You know, we just motioned the guy over to get an edge. He didn't do a great job, but he got a little piece of him. Gave us a good look there. So there's the read. He's down, obviously, so we gave it. Moving on. What question we got about that, Bud?
A couple of them. One was just wanted to know like what we were telling the quarterback, like what their thought process should be on these reads, and then also did we ever predetermine the give or the keep?
No, well, what first part? What were we thinking? What say that first part again?
Like what were we telling the quarterback their thought process?
Oh, the thought process. That's right. They need to give unless, you know, if they're not sure, they need to give it, and then we can tell them, you know, hey, you can probably pull it. That guy's baiting you. But again, a bunch of reps of this, it ain't that hard to figure out. It's pretty easy read. Defensive end's a pretty easy read. That's why so many people do it with zone and everything else. But you know, what was the second question?
Then did we ever like predetermine whether
Predetermined? No, because remember, that's a great question, but all this stuff went together for us that I'm talking about. And so for us, if I was going to predetermine it, I would just call jet. You know what I mean? Because we just call jet. Because if you say, well, then you'd have to block the end. Well, yeah, but if the quarterback's going to give it unless, why would we not put that faith in him? And that's my opinion. I'm not saying couldn't do it differently. You could have a full stretch, or I mean, I'm sure you could tell them, hey, next time I call this, just give it. But if you're asking, did we do that? No, we didn't. We just told them to read it. I didn't love this play if it was 3rd and inches for maybe that reason. You missed the read. But I'll be honest with you guys, we probably ran this play. I need to find some numbers when we get to self-scouting. But I probably ran this play 350 times or something in the last 8 or 9 years. And maybe 7 or 8 of them was it just a horrible read by the quarterback. You know, I mean, a lot of times the worst case scenario is the guy just stands there and he tries to chase late. And honestly, if you're any good at the running back position, they can't catch you doing that. So if he just stands there, you got to give it and outrun him. But the really good guys can do that. But the bigger problem was that, and be honest with you, if the guy was that damn good, we were either probably going to go shake their hands and lose, or we just going to run another play. Anybody else got one?
Yeah, and then what was there a particular defense that gave us issues?
Out front, the power read stuff is better versus even. Well, I shouldn't say it. Well, yes, it's better versus even. It's not that odd is bad, but if you get the squeeze scrape, you got to have an answer for that. So what will we do if we got a squeeze scrape? We probably go to bunch, or we find a different formation, shift to it, try to do something. If we go to bunch, you know, we got somebody to fold in for that inside backer if he squeeze scrape. So on odd, it's a little trickier, but I'm going to show you the next play, the play we got up here right now, actually, where we block the end and read the backer. That's what that would be the answer to if the odd was a problem in power read. So I'm going to back up. So like if we were here, back up some more. All right, so if we're here and it's an even front, I love the 5 technique is such an easy read. So even front, I'm calling this all the time. Even front's hard to reach. It's probably hard to reach him on jet. I'm calling this instead of jet. Not the whole game, not every play, but a lot, a lot. And so I love this play. People got better at it over the years, you know. So we don't see as many even fronts, to be honest. But now you get an odd, and you really, I would go to first to Clemson. Y'all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
So I would go first to that Clemson play and run the counter against odd. And secondly, against odd, I would do this. But no even front ever really hurt us except by just whipping us. Now, don't get me wrong, some even front stopped us, but it was just because their three technique was just way better than our tackle, and we just couldn't block them down, or their inside backer was just an animal, you know, or something like that. It was odd fronts that always seemed to be like, well, maybe it wasn't them. Maybe they just kind of squeeze scraped and got an extra guy to the ball or something like that. And so we came up with that Clemson play and this Poor and Polo play kind of for that, you know, as a counter to that. Anybody else have one before we go to the next one?
Well, and just within the defensive question, I mean, how did you respond to 6-man pressure, or could we run it versus 6-man pressure?
Yeah, well, absolutely. You know, first off, we wasn't going to see a bunch of 6-man pressure because we're going to throw the ball down the field. You know, you'll see in a few minutes. But if we did get it, it was sugar or shit, you know. I mean, I'm not going to say we didn't get if they put two guys on the edge, if they somehow sent him in, brought him late, and all three of them came right there, yeah, we'd have an issue there. No doubt. But when you put everything together, people didn't really always feel confident doing that. And you know, if we thought they were doing that, they'd get us for that play. And what we would come back to was some version of something where we could hard count them, or something where we could play action and take advantage of that if they were doing that over and over again. But we saw a lot of 4-man pressures, honestly. Saw even odd front, they bring one guy. Or if you count these guys standing up on the line as pressures, then, you know, we'd see them, I guess. But we had to have answers for them. But we just didn't see it a lot. Anybody else? Those good questions, by the way. And if I don't answer your question in a way that you understand or is acceptable, ask it again, because obviously I'm doing this for you guys. So I don't want to sound like I'm being short. I'm just answering the question as I understand it. So the next thing we would do, so those are all plays we would do to read the D in. We can run power read either way. We can run counter read. We could bring the Z in motion and run that, any of that stuff. And if the linebacker was a problem, we were going to read the linebacker. Now, this was a great odd front play and not as great of an even front play. So it kind of complemented the power read to some degree. I would always call power read against the even if the linebacker was hurting us, because I think we could get to him. You know, I think we got good angles to him. But against the odd, it can be a problem. The squeeze scrape is a real problem where you don't understand what I mean by that. I'm trying to insult you guys, but this defensive end pinches and he goes over the top real quick. We don't really have anybody for him on power read. So we just start reading him. And if he's a problem on power read or on jet or anything else where he just flies out and we can't get to him, then we should be able to put the quarterback right in there behind where he left and get some yards. Also, if we're worried about it, if he's reading this complex here, which they do sometimes, because we didn't get a down block by this tackle, he may not flow hard over the top and give you a little better way to just run the stretch. Other than that, it's the same play as power read. I think I just put a few of these next few in here because I knew we had a bunch of clips tonight. So we run down here at the boundary. This guy's the read. Gave that. Maybe not the best read. He kind of, I mean, I don't know if we're doing that right or not. That's the read. Maybe he should have pulled it. But we did outrun him, so then it wasn't a bad read. Here, there's the linebacker, went out. Quarterback keeps it. .34 was the lineman. He should have been the read here. I think he stepped out a little, but see, he jumped out. We pulled it. We're riding there. He jumps out, pull it. Now that last little running over people, that I didn't coach him on that. Here, let's see. Here we're running it to the field. Let's see. Linebacker stayed, which is actually surprising, but this is the read right here. He doesn't do much of anything, so we get a give, and he just got out running, you know. Got yards, good play there. Against a really good team, state championship. All right, let's see which way we're running this. Okay, here, so there's the read. He hangs. We gave good, real good read there. Real good read there. So he's going to motion. We're reading him. Watch this guy plug. So we gave it. We're able to capture. I can see that a little bit from this copy there. Talking about the six-man pressure, like we frozen there. We hard count a lot. We go fast, go slow, whatever. Try to give us a chance. All right. Anybody got any questions about that play?
Yeah. What is the quarterback? What's his assignment once he hands the ball off in this play, or what do we tell him to do?
Well, in a perfect world, he would carry out his fake like he had the ball. And but I'll be honest, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I didn't get too wound up about that on these plays because they're getting hit enough. You know, I mean, we're getting a read and then we're giving the ball, and ideally we'd be out the gate. The more important faker is the running back, and we had some really good fakes and some really bad ones probably on that film of people faking. And so the running back should be getting blown up for not carrying out their fakes. The quarterback kind of should too, but to answer the question, he should carry out like he's got the football. Like he should give it and then go. What we did tell them they could do on any play like this, if they gave it, they could actually pull up like that play action and throw and fake a throw or something just to kind of keep them from running into the line of scrimmage a bunch. Because you see, the plays I think people were most worried about were the play action stuff, not these. I think these plays were stuff people worried about, but not like the play actions. So if we could fake those up better. Now this play, we read the defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman. So if it was an even front, be a three technique or a shade on the play side. If it was an odd, we run it head up nose. And I ran it a lot versus odd because, like I said earlier, you get this nose slanting stronger weak, and they want to kind of slant to the motion or something like that, and you can kind of run behind them. So we get a down block on the backside and wrap the tackle, and then everybody here blocks just like jet. So this is Jerry to them, and this backside is just kind of gutting and walling off. And you try to see a big wall in there and isolate that one guy and go. There we got to give. The first few of these are gives. And I don't know. I mean, I'm going to skip through some of these gives. I'm not going to say much about them, but there were plays where we read them and then he gave. See, he didn't do anything. We gave. Should have put the pools in it. Because if we know it's going to be a give, guys, you understand the play. If we knew it was going to be a give, then we really should just call Jared or Jello, like, because you get the extra blockers. You know, I mean, the reason this was we'll run this one. The reason we called this was to read the nose. If I knew, hey, it's more likely than not that we're going to get a give here, then I'd be better off to just call regular jet because we get more people pulling in the alley here. And not these people sitting on the backside for the quarterback. We called this play being pretty sure we would get a pull. Now, we don't tell the quarterback that. The quarterback's got the same read. See, here's the read there. That was the three. That was an even front version of it. I think when you get some quarterback runs here in a minute, you'll have a better idea of this play. That's a good look of it. We got to give, but that was exactly what we were trying to do there. See if we got a back copy of that. So here's the read. Leave him alone. He runs straight at the quarterback, so we get a give. We were hoping he'd chase that back, but he didn't. Same. This is a better. See, there's the read. He ran out there. Quarterback keep. So these are all quarterback keeps. You see there, the 74 was the read. That was a 3 technique. Here we're odd front. So this is the read, the nose. He chases. Quarterback goes behind him. And that's the big boy I told you about. Was a good, real good player, but not a great runner. And I mean, you can see the lane here. Bo might even gotten 5 yards out of this. I'd have gotten 6. So this is odd. There's the nose. I don't know. Some of you guys here are from Georgia, but a lot of this particular plays film is some of the better teams we play because you just get really good players that are hard to block, and you got to do some stuff like this. What questions we got on this, Bo? Try to get to the vertical stuff.
Just what were the thought process on naming the plays? I mean, they understand the R and the L, but was there a particular reason that we
usually it was the play most likely for the lineman. So, like, I know that's not exactly jet sweep, but it's jet-like. So the line would have blocked jet with the backside blocking different. If the play, like that one play we called Clemson, was counter left for the line, if that made sense. Prince is power right for the line. So if I made up any PR word, president, priest, principal, I don't know, any PR word, the line was probably blocking power right. You know, and I made the receivers and the backs just learn the R and L words. I didn't much care what they started with, if that makes sense. But the linemen needed to understand. The linemen only had 5 or 6 blocking schemes. You know, all these plays, they're blocking power and, you know, counter them, buck sweep, pass pro, you know. But we wanted the plays to be easy for the linemen. So were they always super simple if you never heard of it? No. I mean, some of it we just sat around and I said, hey, what's a good name for this? And I let the kids pick most of these names, if you know, be honest with you. Some of them about 15 years old, 12 years old or something, but we just let the kids pick them. You know, give us a CR word, a CL word, whatever. What else we got?
That was it, but do you want to I know that we discovered there was some things you wanted to stay away from when naming plays.
Traditionally, if they complement each other, rhyming words aren't great. So like Prince and Pluto, bear, bull, you know, Jerry, Jello. Close words, 1 to 2 syllables are good, and not rhyming because you can kind of, you know, I mean, everybody's not from South Alabama like me, so maybe I'll know their words. But, you know, I mean, if you're struggling to get the play in, if you got a rip and a bip and a kip and a zip and a blah, blah, you know, I mean, damn, somebody will mess that up. So, you know, and we messed that up the hard way too, you know. I mean, we did it at practice, but we did all this stuff at practice. And all the no-huddle stuff was at practice. All the communicating stuff was at practice. So usually when we messed it up, it was at practice. Usually when somebody said they thought I said Prince, but I really said something that rhymed with Prince, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have used that word. And so we just changed, you know. And so, listen, these play names are nothing magical about them except they're simple. And what I did like about it was if I said bear, it was buck sweep right, but it might have been a lot of buck sweep right. So you say, well, what if somebody knows that bear means buck sweep right? Well, you know, we signaled and the signals were different. And I'm not going to tell everybody the signals. We didn't always holler out the word bear. But to us, that was it. But when we had to learn 421, like back in the Wing T day, they memorized 421 just like they memorized bear. you know, and actually a lot of them like it easier, one word. But for us, bear could have meant handoff. It could have meant pop pass. It could have meant a bunch set, a spread set. It could have been a lot of different ways to run that bear. And it's one syllable. It wasn't 421, which is 3 syllables, you know, or whatever or whatever tag you guys had. I liked one word plays. I'm not going to say we never had a tag, but I preferred one word plays. Best we could, systematic. Like I said, the counter words were C's and the power words were P's and the R and L. And, you know, I mean, I don't want to get in the weeds on that too long, bore everybody, but I'll answer anybody's question they got about it. Good.
Mhm.
All right. The next thing is the keep pass stuff, which I really think you guys will like, and was really good for us because we ran the ball so much. And this just really complements each other, guys. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, man, why don't they just fire this inside backer? Or why don't they just bring this outside backer or roll to secondary? Well, some people did, guys. Some people did, and they got us occasionally. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't put up those plays. But I thought these 2 plays, the verticals keep pass and the post wheel keep pass, kept most people from doing that because they almost would just rather rally to the jet sweep than give you this one. So we had to put enough plays on film, and we'll talk about that later with horizontal and vertical stuff. With the no-mo stuff, we had to just put enough 5 verticals on film to make everybody worried about it. And these we had to put enough play action home runs on film to make somebody worry about it. And this is straight pass pro for the line. We can talk about pass pro a little today, but we'll have a whole line session later. But the quarterback's going to flash the fake, so it should look like Pluto. In this case, it should look like Pluto or Jello or Bear or whatever else. And then we're going to read the verticals. So the progression would be inside go, outside go, check down. For the wheel, post wheel, we're faking over here. In this case, it'd be Bear or Jerry or Prince or something where we're faking. It should look the same. Going post, wheel, check down. Now, talk about which side's better. Well, that can be debatable, and it can be from week to week. I always thought if they rolled the safeties, if they rolled the safeties down and we got the side here, then this was the better side to go backside post. If you had that look, you go backside post, wheel check down, but that's a little harder. So the backside post, sometimes we would look there first based off of leverage, based off what I told them, based on whatever. But the base read is going to be play side post, wheel check down. You get the safety rolling down the alley, and you isolate that corner where he's got to pick one of them, and you're good to go. Over here we would definitely go these 2 inside goes together. But if the inside goes were on each side, he would pick a side pre-snap based on the safeties and go inside go, outside go, check down. Now, if they had one safety, he could read between them like a cover 3 type deal. And we can get into some complicated stuff on that. But a lot of times somebody was just wide ass open. I mean, that's usually what you're looking for on these type plays, on the inside goes. So these are the verticals first. This thing is 12. I'm not going to make y'all watch 12 minutes of this. But everybody's got access to this. There's just an inside go. Now, how did we run our inside goes? He's got to beat the safety. Now, this is probably important to understand for when we get to the 5 verticals too. So we got motion coming this way. We got an outside go, and an inside go, and an inside go by the wing. Now, if you're an outside guy, you're basically going to run a go down the numbers, stay down the numbers, let the ball drift you outside the numbers, just like any kind of Tony Franklin or air raid or any other thing tell you to do. That's a good look. The guy on the hash is going to run right. He's got to go outside the outside backer and inside the safety. So there is no outside backer, so he can run vertical and get inside the safety. If there's an outside backer out there, he's got to go outside of him. He can't come underneath him. Got to go outside of him and then get back inside the safety. If they're a wing back, if they're in tight, they run straight, literally straight. Don't overcomplicate it. If they get off track, they got to get back on track. They got to take best release. So if he can get inside there and go, he goes. If he can go outside, he goes outside and gets back straight. If this one were to have gone in motion, or if this one would have been the vertical, same thing, straight down the middle of the field. Okay? Don't overcomplicate it. Just spread the field and try to get somebody wide open. In this case, we kind of knew pre-snap. I mean, that we were throwing out here because there's nobody out here. You know, as long as they're not baiting us or something, and this safety backpedals a little, we got a lot of grass in there. He probably could have thrown that even sooner. And I didn't put these in order of the best play or anything. I just sorted them. So some of these are better than others. Same thing here. We got no outside backer. We fake. We throw it behind him a little bit, but he caught it. Probably should have come out even faster. So these are some of the harder ones. These are actually some of the harder throws at the beginning I'm showing you, where we play action, throw it. That's what it should look like from the back copy. All right. Now we got a guy up. He should go outside of him and get down the number. Get down the hash. I'm sorry. Good. Good looking play there. All right, here. Same thing. He's a little wide, but the guy went out with him, so we didn't mind that. This guy's out with him. He's got to get inside of him. He's the safety, no outside backer. Bend it. Should have thrown it quicker, but it's 12 minutes of these guys, so I'm going to try to fast forward some stuff. But everybody's got access to the whole. All right. Okay, hold on. This is one I put on here on purpose because this was a bad one. So here we're looking, and this guy's got a guy on top of him, so you should go outside of him and right down the hash. If this guy doesn't chase him, it's a touchdown based on alignment. The quarterback should see this, and really right now the ball should be coming out like you saw earlier. It's not, and so but he kind of clears him, and he's open anyway. But touchdown, but not the best executed play. All right, here, same thing. You got a guy down low, and that's a linebacker. He's looking, does he have a linebacker or a safety or both? That's a linebacker. No safety. Get around him, run out, get the ball. Good looking play. Like that. We got two inside goes there. There we got trips. See that one again. We got trips. And safety over the ball here. So this safety, he should see right now, this guy's going to clear open. Or if for some reason he doesn't, this one went over, he'd be open, or we would check it down to the back. He comes open, put it on him. Outside backer, inside the safety. This guy got in the way, but caught it anyway. Up here, we got a split guy. He goes outside of him, puts it on him. I put all these throws together. We're going to do some outside. All these are inside throws, and then there'll be outside throws and all that. So it's not like we threw the inside go every time. I'm just showing y'all this. This guy's spreading the field, running the middle go. Here we got a jumper. I don't know if y'all understand what I mean here. This was a pretty nice play actually here, where we're later in the season and we run a bunch of these and they kind of baited us. Right here, this safety comes down and kind of gets in the window. You know, we think we're going to throw this guy's wide open. He's uncovered, and they kind of bait you down. This one's deep, and this one comes down short late. And then he gets in the window. The quarterback doesn't throw it, lets him clear, and throws it. That's pretty good. I don't even know if we practiced that much. It was just them being a good player. Now, these are outside throws, I think. We fake, we check down outside. So what we're telling them on these plays, these outside, what I love about this is that a lot of times we throw in a fade, and it wasn't a called fade. You know, we're throwing this ball because something wasn't open. So what I tell them on this Viper play, this vertical, is look, like right here, we're sending motion, and I'm telling the quarterback, look, if we can throw him the ball, throw it. But if you're not sure, throw the home run pass. We're not calling this on 3rd and 5. We got some different calls for that. You know, it's 1st and 10, it's 2nd and 12, it's, you know, maybe it's 2nd and 1. But we're not calling this in a down where you couldn't throw an incompletion. So here, see how he kind of got tied up. He messed around up there. He may have cleared now, but it's too late. The quarterback doesn't feel comfortable with it. So just turn and throw this ball as far as you can and give the boy a chance. This high school ball, you're going to win a lot of these one-on-ones on offense if you practice it anyway. So your quarterback's looking this way. It's not there. Just find the outside guy. Find the outside guy. Put it on him. That's your check down. Now, we'll throw it to the back too, but that's your check down. Same thing here. We're looking for this. He's not there. Find the deep guy. Put it on him. Usually that's worst case incompletion. That's why we like that kind of attitude. Almost a check down's a home run pass, kind of odd. But, all right, here I think we throw into the back some. See how this guy hangs? Come back to the back. Getting the back out of the backfield some. Same thing here. We're looking to the goes. I probably would have thrown that one, but he didn't feel comfortable. So get the back out of the backfield, no problem. Any kind of pressure, we should look deep quick or back to the backfield. Like I said, we didn't get a ton of pressure because they were having to play the lateral stuff. All right, so this is with the tight end. There's the tight end coming wide open. Same play, just that's red Viper. We fumbled a dang ball, but you get the idea. So this will be red. Send him in motion. We got 2 inside goes. They're running straight. There it is. Another tight end one. It's kind of ugly, but it was open. All right, another tight end one, I think here. Yeah. We got a tight end wing here. We'll get the tight end straight, and the wing will have to go wider. See, he had to go a little wider because it was a tight end wing. We'll get a few of those too to get some good looks out of that. All right, same thing here. We got a tight end wing. They went out to the wing, left the tight end open, put it on him. Nice play. So this guy right here is kind of your read on this. You fake. You look into them. He covers there. Go in there. If they covered both of them, throw the check down. Now here they stayed in and we ran past and that guy stayed in with the tight end. It's later in the game, same game. Hit the wheel or the wide go for a touchdown. That's pretty easy throws. Some of these throws are tougher throws. This one ain't. I can throw that. Throwing a wing here. We got the wing running the middle of the field. Go blue screen. Same thing here. We got a wings, I think, run the middle of the field. Here we're trying to hit the wings, 2 wings there, make them pick one. It was like a sugar huddle. We lined up late. We're running out of bunch. Same thing out of bunch. It's a really good set out of bunch. You'll get some wide open ones like that. These are all going to be out of bunch, I think. So we got bunch here. Now, if we get a bunch set, what we would do is run him vertical, him in the middle, and him around the wheel. They still end up in them 3 spots, but we had to teach it where if they're in a bunch, they had to run a little differently, obviously. They got to spread out. So you can see a good look at that here. They spread out. You can see they end up there. He caught the touchdown, but we got them spread out pretty good right there. Good. Another bunch set. Tight set with the wings coming up. Another bunch set. We hit the wheel. another bunch set where we went, oh, so he's ineligible. We knew the team was cheating to that, so we just ran him on it with him standing there and caught it. This isn't a good look at the play, I don't think, but he caught the ball. You have to trust me. We got past them. The key on this isn't if they have somebody trailing them. The key is, is anybody behind them? And if they're not, you got a good player. That's a shift motion there. Let me show you that one again if you didn't see it. So we got a shift across the field to he started over there to run him back, put him on the other side, left the tight end wide open. So it was just a hot, like we started the H on the other side, move him across. Same thing here. This is bunch. We just started him on the wrong side. He comes in motion. Now they're back in bunch, doing that same bunch look. Same thing here, starting in that, come to bunch. Now we end up right in where we were, which is Gold Viper, and that play a bunch. Same thing here, same exact play. I think that's it. We got any questions about verticals before we go to post wheel?
What was the most common coverage that we got out of the empty looks?
0 or -1. I mean, now if you're asking, well, I assume he means after we went in motion, because if we didn't go in teams lined up for a cross and probably in some version of quarters, if you want to know, if they were probably thinking they were playing quarters. And a lot of times, or they play cover 1. I guess it was cover 1 or quarters, like, manned everybody up essentially with 1 high, or if they went 2 high, it was 4 across, and they probably thought they were playing quarters. Now, the minute we went in motion, the outside backer ended up not being much of a factor, and it became cover 0. And a few times over there, y'all saw it was cover -1. It meant somebody was wide open because they didn't have any guys over the top. So when we went in motion, like you kind of see it, I haven't played this clip yet, but when this guy went in motion, he was playing him, bud. If you think he was getting any help with him, you're out of your mind. This guy was getting looked at by either a safety or nobody. So this guy go vertical, safety or nobody, and he's getting looked at by him, and that's it. I don't want to sound – I'm not hoping that sound arrogant about what I'm saying is we still got beat a lot, but it wasn't because they couldn't hardly run some cover 2, some roll 3 thing to that play unless it was 3rd and 13 or something like that. We were too good at capturing the edge, and we worked too hard at its base play. Remember where this started. The base play has to be the base. Make them stop that, because if they're not stopping sweep, if this guy can go to the flats and wall off 2, and this guy can get deep as he can to play over the top cover 3, then you're not good enough at your sweep stuff or whatever your base thing is. So now when we didn't go in motion, let's talk about that next time. Because what I mean is when we got an empty and just lined up, snapped the ball, we did get, they started in something. But still then, the coverage we saw the most was some variation of 0 or 1. Anybody else? All right, so the post wheel, think of this post wheel play as basically switch. So instead of, now this is a bunch set, but let's back it up a minute. Let's just say he doesn't go in motion. Let's say we send it this way. He would run the post and he'd run the wheel, and basically that's the same as the vertical. They just swap routes. So we didn't tell the kids that all the time, but I looked at these as the same play. Sometimes the one just worked a little better than the other one, and just depend on what they were doing. But we threw a ton of front side and backside post on this. Everybody was open on this play, and we just threw it a backside post, probably pre-snap. But you can see this number 3. They run this bunch on this. They run the same. He's straight up the field. He's wide open. He's open. It's just a good play. Same thing here. We go action, safety down. And you say, why was he throwing the backside post and not the front side post? If you're not asking yourself that's a good question. But see this guy low here and this one higher. See, pre-snap, we'd have been like, all right, they're kind of playing this bunt. This guy can't. We felt like our X could win on the X post, on this post play. So, if we got this guy low here playing the run, which that's what he's doing, he's in there for the run, then we had it. Now, he was a good football player, so you got to have a good football player out there, no doubt. Same thing here, bunch. This is another backside post. All these are together, so all these backside posts are together. And like I said, a lot of times these backside posts were plays we saw maybe going into the game or pre-snap or something. We were kind of like, all right, we like the backside post here. So we hard counted it. So Bo knows this. Like we hard counted, everybody's looking at the sideline. I see this guy right here, and I know what he's been doing. And I'm just saying this kid's name to the quarterback. Like, I know some other people might be open here, but let's throw it, And again, it's probably 1st and 10, but we're going to make them have to put somebody over there for that backside post, or they're just going to have a really good corner. But again, let me say, if their corner was just better than our receiver, why didn't have any good plays for that guy? So don't mistake it. Your job as the play caller is to call the plays when you got a chance. Hell, if you ain't got a chance, there ain't much to talk about. This is bunch, same thing, going into the place. Now, this is play side post. It's the same kid, but if you understand, now we faked right and we're going to throw right. Because we did that, we were able to get him isolated because they were doubling him in other sets. And so that was the way we got him open. We put him on the side of the fake. Same thing here. We got nobody in the middle of the field. Fake right, throw right. And when they take that guy away, then you go to the other one. So if they were to double this, our better receiver over here, you just throw to the other one. That's okay too. Same thing here. Front side post. So we throw it fake right, throw right. Now we're in bunch here, and I think we're going to throw the bunch here. But this is a bunch set, throw into the bunch. Getting him cleared. You got motion, same thing, same play. Fake right, we got a backside post, and it goes. We just happen to get him by him. All right, now I think we're hitting the wheel. A few of these, I put the wheels on there. We got the wheel. Tough, anybody knows, coach defense knows, tough to defend the wheel sometimes, especially with action, because you end up, that outside backer's in a little bind there. So here we're going to, I think this is a wheel too to him. He slips out. The good thing about that wheel too is it kind of looks like that reach block on jet, so you can kind of get them stepping out with you and let you go. So like here, this guy's, we're coming to block him on so many plays that he kind of steps out and lets us go past him. Same thing here. We got black. It's in motion here. Post, wheel. Same thing here, but now we got him widened out, so he's not a wing. You just run the post wheel there. All right, now we got motion. We got an extra guy in there as the wheel from the H-back. See the safety come down in the alley? That gave us that play. Anybody got a question about that one? No, all right. I put a few boots in here. I didn't do a ton of stuff with the boot, but We had some good plays off of Waggle. I'll just let some play, answer any question you got, but we end up doing more the keep pass version where we stayed in the pocket and just threw it deep because we ran so much of the flank that people were actually on both edges. But if we ever got them cheating to the motion, you could really bad on their outside backer, or DN, or an inside backer. We could come back with the Waggle, basically boot, and do it. Now, to put it in perspective, we probably called, 5 keep passes to every one boot, just because we wanted them almost to stay in the pocket because we ran the ball wide so much. So we got bunch going here, and we just booted out. We always the guy by himself ran out and up or an out and tagged it if we're going to run the out. And then the other guys just drag across the field. The drag's usually always open. If you got to hit somebody, the drag's open. So we would go, we're going to fake, throw it deep, or hit the drag. I think we hit the drag here. There he is. Takes a little while. There, boot. Same thing here, I think. Now we got 2 receivers, so we ran a go and an out. Put them on there. We would call the same play, and then the kids understood if they had twins out there or trips or one receiver by himself, what the concept was. Here we got the drag, I think. We come across it, drag. We hit the drag. Probably hitting those drags a little late. We weren't quite as good at this play because we didn't practice it as much, to be honest. But I wanted to add it in because it wasn't play action, play off the sweep that we did call. So basically that's that. That's what we did in terms of plays off the sweep. Does anybody question about any of them? Or anything, I guess. Good. How much practice time, you said? We practiced most everybody both ways. So, mostly an hour. Offense, hour, defense, 20 minutes special team maybe, on a regular day. I think I posted a practice schedule. Go to my Twitter. I put a generic schedule. I mean, it was one we really used, but we might have tweaked it a little bit, but it was pretty much the same thing every day. And we just tweaked things. So like for special teams work, kickoff and kick return one day, punt and punt return the next, extra point, field goal the next. If it was like an individual period on offense, say it was a period where the receivers and the quarterback were together, they might be working outside goes one day, inside goes the next, and the horizontal kind of game the next. So, we changed who did what, but that format was very similar. The key was just getting a bunch of reps, making it happen. We stayed on schedule. We had the clock, and we got 2 huddles. And we just got after it. And even though it probably sounds like a lot of stuff, to you guys in these sessions, the truth is this is all we did. So we still really do. I mean, it's still, I think compared to the people I know, it still wasn't that much stuff. It was just a lot of formations and a lot of little nuanced things, but really just a lot of the same plays. And these plays today, like I said, we practiced them knowing they would work if the other team was cheating on the base. All right, going back to Clemson against the odd front, did you try to base a 4 technique or did you try to release it? I guess you mean on the play side. We read the backside guy, but on the play side, yeah, we just try to kick him out. That was the plan. Just like a wing T play, we're going to try to kick him out. But we practiced it, because I was big on situations. And I don't mean like 3rd and 1. Obviously, I'm big on that. But I mean, like if we were running counter and we'd have a counter period in practice, with the quarterback. And maybe it was a time when the quarterback was just with the offensive line. If the quarterback's running that play, for example, the quarterback's just with the offensive line and the running backs and the receivers are doing some blocking out of bunch or something that doesn't need a quarterback. We would take that quarterback and the line and the scouts, and we're just running counter left, counter left, counter left. And we're getting that 4 technique, squeeze us and wrong arming and have to bounce it, or he's up the field and we kick him and run underneath. But if you're asking, did we have a bunch of ways to run it or even two ways? No, we literally just tried to kick him out. And if we couldn't kick him out, we logged him and we just bounced, and the quarterback had to read that and bounce it. Obviously it didn't work quite as well when you got that, but we didn't see it that much. And we ran a lot of counter, and I didn't talk about counter today, our regular quarterback counter, because that's a call. It's not a read. And I would call it a lot of times in short yardage or red zone or goal line or special situations. And so, we ran a decent amount of counter. So our kids, our linemen understood that they had to kick out that 4 technique, which not ideal. But a lot of times they slant into the most. Think about most of these odd front slant. So if they slant right and you're running left, then the tackle actually blocks them. And we worked that tackle blocking down has to pick up the guy that pinches. And if he slants out, he's really an easy kick. It's really when they try to stuff you, that what we call stuff technique back in the day, where they kind of play you, they kind of base you, that it's a little bit harder to figure out. And most of the time, because of what we were doing, we saw a hard slant one way or the other. And it wasn't that hard. Sometimes the play side tackle would miss, if he was pinching, but we just had to get that fixed on the field. I hope that made sense. Anybody else, Bo? You got anything to add?
No, I'm good.
I do think that, let's say, Coach said, I'm going to tell Saunders most of these clips are against Gilmer. Well, they wasn't when he was there. Let me just say, my record against Saunders, 0-0. We didn't ever play against each other. He was at Gilmer this year, and I was already at the county office. But if we'd have played him, there'd be some clips on there from Saunders. You tell him I said that. Top 5 books behind you have read. Well, most of it's just for show, Coach. No, I'm just kidding. I read most of them. I probably read all of them, but most nowadays they're all audio books. So most of them books 15, 20 years old at least, maybe more. When I first started coaching, we read the Bill Walsh book, and I read books. There was a book about multiple offense stuff that was really about, and a book about up-tempo offense, which back then was earth-shattering. There's a book by Tony DeMeo about shotgun triple option. I can vividly remember reading those things, 20 years ago or so, and really getting something from it. And, I barely knew what the hell I was doing. But having to convince our head coach, I went from coaching Bo, ironically, as a defensive back coach, being an offensive coordinator. At a really, real young age, coach just put some trust in me. We ran his offense, ran the wing. So I learned the wing tee. That's why I run some of this stuff now. But I really thought we could do more with it. And so I learned this stuff from there. So those books, if you can find them, there's a book by Homer Rice about clock management. There's a book by, Belichick's dad has a good book about scouting. It's kind of cool. I don't know how much it would help you, but it's kind of cool. But that Homer Rice book's really good. That Bill Walsh book's really good. It's hard to get, I think. And we actually had DeMeo on the podcast the other day talking about his. He's written a ton of them since, but that book he wrote in like 97 or 98 or something was like earth-shattering for shotgun. And you could get in the shotgun and actually run some physical stuff like option or wing tee stuff, which nobody had really ever thought about it. I don't think so at that time. So any of that's good, and then now it just looks good in the background, Coach. Most of the time now I'm reading 140 character tweets. Anybody else got anything? I'm old. I'm gonna call it a night.